If it's pouring down outside, we'll put a raincoat on so we can still make our journey. We're still going to get wet, but it helps. Think of resilience as that same thing. Hello and welcome. So today we're just going to talk about resilience and a little bit about behaviour change and basically how we can build up our resilience and how it's going to benefit our day-to-day lives. So, firstly, what is resilience? What does it do for us day to day and how can we improve it? Well, the definition of resilience is the capacity to recover quickly from difficulties. So this basically means how we handle a situation and how we react to it. So why is it important then to have good resilience? Well, we need good resilience no matter what in life. We will face things that we don't like and or don't necessarily agree with. Then from a sporting point of view, from a sporting perception, we need to have good resilience to be able to continue to push ourselves when we are fatigued and also when we may have lost a tournament or competition. Improved levels of resilience is what then enables us to continue to push through those fatigue levels, to enable us to bounce back from a competition loss, to be able to train and then improve for next time and come back a more improved and all-rounded athlete. So, and this is why then we need to look at failure, and failure is vital to build resilience. Think back to the video where I spoke about Black Box Thinking book. It's Joe, we have our experiences, we make our mistakes. We look at that, we deal with it, we learn from it, and then we move on so we don't make that same mistake in the future, not just for ourselves, but like I say, then other people can learn from that also, so they're not having to make the same mistakes. You know, if we don't have good resilience, when we are faced with something, it's going to then lead to negative health implications. I'm sure, as we are all aware now, Joe, stress, the amount of negative implications that has on our health. So as long as we have that resilience to be able to handle that stress and then deal with it, that's then what's not going to make it become a health issue. Whereas if we have bad resilience, poor resilience, and we can't deal with that, that's when that stress is then just going to be a negative issue. So what can we do? What promotes resilience? Well, basically suppression isn't a viable solution. So like, the more we think about an issue, the more you're going to focus on that. So if I've been told I can't eat certain foods, the first thing I'm going to be doing is thinking about those foods that I've been told that I'm not allowed to eat. So it's that you don't want to solely try and use that as, like, say, that then it's in the forefront of the mind. Likelihood is we're going to think about it. We're just going to be tormented ourselves. We are then going to fail. So people with greater resilience have a greater emotional state and are less likely to become overwhelmed by negative emotions. So this goes back to the point where we're going to all face things in life that, like say, we're not necessarily going to agree with or like, but it's how we respond to these actions. So it's not saying that we're going to live in this fairy tale world. It's about, yes, we're going to be setback. We're going to face setbacks. How do we deal with them? How do we then move forward? So, resilience. It's just a tool to get us through the day, get us through this journey we call life. If it's pouring down outside, we'll put a raincoat on so we can still make our journey. We're still going to get wet, but it helps. Think of resilience as that same thing. Joe, we're still going to face these difficulties. It's just there. It's that added barrier to give us that extra level of protection, extra level of security, if you will. How do we become more resilient? Well, basically, ultimately, it's behaviour change. Joe, we need to address what we've been doing, what's been leading to those situations, and then, like I say, we need to change those things so we're not just continuing to do the same mistakes over and over and getting in the same situations over and over. So a slow and gradual change is more likely to last rather than jumping in all or nothing. Again, as I do say a lot, this is where that go hard, go home mentality does need to be implemented carefully and correctly. So, you know, if you're someone that's never gone to the gym before, then you're trying to say you're going to go 7 times a week. You know, realistically, it's not going to last. Same with the diet. If we're used to eating what we want, anytime we want, whenever we want, and then you're going to try and change that to a regimented, strict diet, the likelihood is that it's not going to last. For the odd person, it may, but for the general population of us, it's not going to work. We're just going to then end up worse off because we're going to think, oh, failed again. No, I can't do it. There's something wrong with me. Instead, take gradual changes. 1 healthy meal a day. Then 2. Build it up like that. 1 gym visit a week. Then 2. Then 3. Things like this. Joe, don't dive in all or nothing. The likelihood is that will not last. We also need to be compassionate to ourselves. The more you beat yourself up and criticise yourself, the more that will affect your overall mood and self-esteem, which then leads to you ultimately believing that you're not going to be able to achieve your goal. So it's just, again, try not to dwell, try not to think and overly focus on something, Joe. If you have made a mistake, if you have eaten something that you shouldn't have on your diet, it's done, it's gone. You can't change it. So take a step back, look at what led to that situation, what led to that situation being enabled, and then learn from it for next time. Behaviour change, black box thinking, failing, and it's little things like that. So, like I say, just be a little bit easier on yourself. Joe, you wouldn't be horrible, or at least I would hope we wouldn't be horrible to random people in the streets. Try and think of yourself as the same. Joe, you are going through difficult things yourself. We all are. That's like I say, that is that journey of life. So just be a little bit more compassionate with ourselves, especially within fitness industry. We have been marketed as this like go hard, go home, and that's the only way to train and do things for such a long time. So yes, like I say, that does have its time and a place, but we do also need to be compassionate about things, Joe. If you've been at work all day, realistically, are you going to be as strong as you would on a day where you've had a full day of rest? And Joe, like as a little example like that. So again, like I say, I've dwelled on it a bit now, but just be a little bit more compassionate with ourselves, guys. That's all we need to do on that aspect, really. So, like I say there, Joe, accept what's happened. Joe, if you've missed the gym, if you've missed a meal, accept it. It's happened. Why has it happened? Let's see what we can change. Let's try and put things in place so that situation doesn't arise where we then led to not being able to go to the gym or not being able to eat our food, whatever it be like that. So, what else can we do to improve resilience? Well, engage in meaningful activities so that you don't solely focus on the issues in hand. As mentioned before, the more we think about something, the more the desire is going to be there to want to we're going to focus on it more, basically. If I'm thinking I need to change how I look, I'm solely going to be thinking about that and solely then obsessing about that. So whereas if I'm thinking about just playing a sport, just doing a sport, doing a hobby, I'm going to be burning the calories, I'm going to be changing my body composition all while I'm not solely thinking about it because I've got other things, other goals, other targets to be thinking about there. So like I say, if we're going to the gym to get healthier, then go with a friend. Should have someone else to talk to, someone else to focus with there. Join a sports club. It doesn't need to be specifically within a gym to get fit. Sport is sport, movement is movement. If you join a running club with your pals, you're running, you're talking, you're not solely focused on, I don't like how I look, I don't like this, I don't like that. We're focused on the socialising side of things, and we're focused on like the time, what beat my time for next time, and little things like that. We're not then focusing on our body issues or our eating issues or little things. I'll say little things, but big things like this, we're just going to be getting it done without even realising. Same with cooking, perhaps, download some recipes and learn how to make them with your friend or partner. That way then it's an activity to do, but also you're going to learn how to make tasty meals, healthy meals, meaning that then you're more likely to succeed on your diet side. You're not going to be like, it's the same food again. Some people that works for, but others it doesn't. Some people like a bit of variety in life. So if we learn how to make different meals, again, then we're going to last longer on our diet. The diet's going to be nicer, but also we can make this a social engagement. When we're cooking, almost like come dine with me or something like. We could have friends round, obviously with restrictions and whatnot, whatever they are at the moment where you are. That has its own restrictions. Like I do understand that, but again, we can make things fun. Not everything has to be seen as a chore. Like I say, if we're going to go to the gym, find a sport kind of thing, training for a sport, training for, you want to do a marathon, train with your friends to socialise it, so you're not solely thinking on as an example. So if you've got body issues, you're not going to be thinking about solely and staring at yourself in the mirror for that full session, because your mind's going to be talking to your friends, or you're going to be focused elsewhere. So it sounds blindingly obvious, but a lot of the times it is. We overcomplicate it. We want this miracle workout, miracle potion, miracle mindset to have. It's not. Like, just do little things. And again, I know it sounds obvious, but little changes, and they gradually build up. Joe, accept failure will happen, accept difficulties will happen, and what can we do to build these up? So let's just like round up now. So basically, what are the main things that we need to do? We need to accept what's happened and where we are on our journey. So if something's happened and a setback's happened, Joe, accept it and go, right, okay, I'm here. My journey is from here to here. A little blip in the road here doesn't matter. I'm still going to get to my journey, Joe. If you're driving somewhere and you take a wrong turn, you don't then just pack it all in and go home. You readjust, get back onto the road and carry on. Again, it's very simple, very lazy, if you will, analogies. But these are the things, like, Joe, you picture these things and it may sound daft, but we don't focus on it. When I was at school, my teacher told us when we was having our careers things and, Joe, progressing into life, he said about someone walking through the snow. If you stare at your feet, you try to go in a straight line. If you're staring at your feet and focusing on every little thing, you're going to end up, when you get to the finish line, look back and everything's everywhere. Joe, focus on the end target. Keep that in sight. If we do go off track, that's okay. But focus on that end goal. That's the ultimate goal. That's the main thing. Joe, we are going to have slip-ups. That's life. Let's look at those, work on them then so that it doesn't happen next time. As again, going back to that, start small, build up. Joe, one gym session for an hour, maybe half an hour, then maybe an hour, 2 hours. Joe, build it up like that. Same with the food. Little bits, then add it up, build it up like this. Don't try and cut everything out all at once and go completely change your lifestyle. Joe, if you're an adult, I'm 29. If I've done something for my whole life now and then try to change it tomorrow and go a completely different way, it's not going to last. Like, realistically, it's not going to last. Again, then be compassionate with yourself. Do you know, again, things are going to happen. We're going to fail. There's going to be times when we don't feel good, don't feel want to go to the gym, don't want to eat our meals, don't want to do whatever. Accept that. Don't be compassionate to yourself, Joe. If someone came to you and was having an issue, you wouldn't speak to them the way a lot of people speak to themselves. So it's that, Joe. Just treat yourself with a bit of human decency. Treat yourself the way you would treat others. Learn from things. Accept it. Right, I did that. Why did I do that? Right, I went there. Right, I'll cut that out. Learn from it. Don't make that mistake again. Or at least cut out things that led to that mistake. And then if that mistake happens again, then we'll look at it again and change some other things. But the ultimate thing is be compassionate, learn, change. And lastly, and personally I find it the most important one, engage in meaningful activities. Like, say, if you're going to the gym to change how you look because you have issues within yourself about your appearance and you're training on your own, that full gym session, you're going to be thinking about that. Whereas if you're with a friend, you may not, because you're going to be talking to them. If you join a sports club or go to the gym to train a certain way, say you're Olympic lifting, you want to get a certain weight on your lift, all these things, again, going to keep the mind off the negative and go more focusing on the positive. So for me, I find that is one of the most important, if not because if we can keep our mind elsewhere, we're going to be doing and achieving our goals without even realising. So be compassionate, learn, adjust, move forward, engage in something meaningful, face the facts that we're going to face things that we don't like. So we need to build that resilience so we can go out into the rain and not get soaked. Good luck, guys. Keep training hard, keep pushing hard, and be compassionate to yourselves.